What's up, Net Soldiers? I'm the Alliance, and welcome back to another video, guys. Today, I'm going to be doing another tier list. My last tier list seemed to do pretty well, so I asked you guys, do you want to see another one? And you guys said yes. And you had a suggestion for me to do, like, character power levels, or, like, kind of like who is the strongest compared to who is the weakest, this overall. So that's in fighting style, that's in force abilities, that's just, like, an overall strength of a character. So I thought that sounded pretty interesting, and I found a tier list that was on this tier list maker site. And it has like almost every character in the Star Wars universe, so it's a pretty long one. I'm gonna try to, like, you know, keep it short and sweet for most of these, and giving my reasonings for why I'm putting them where I'm putting them. But yeah, that's pretty much what it's gonna be. But you'll notice there are some technical characters missing. Like, for instance, there is Anakin Episode 3 on here, and Anakin Episode 1, but there isn't an Anakin Episode 2. And in my opinion, those three characters are separate characters. Even though they are the same person, they're three different characters as far as, you know, who they are, as well as like their power levels and their personalities. And that's kind of what I mean by that. So there's going to be some characters missing. Also, Obi-Wan Episode 1 and 2, I think he's not on there either. So there's some characters missing here and there, but that's just the way it is. So if you guys like this video, want to see more, so like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more. Also, I'm not sick anymore, but I still have phlegm, so you can probably hear that. I'm gonna try to get over that eventually, and hopefully I can get back at this video thing, because I've been beaten up for the last couple weeks. So with that said, let us begin. Okay, so if we look here, we're gonna start with I'm not gonna start the beginning here. I'm gonna start with, like, let's get some power levels out of the way right off the bat. Okay, so we definitely know Emperor is definitely going to be up in S tier. We know that. Emperor is going to be S tier, there's no question about that. And then we have characters like this little guy. I forget his name right now, but he's clearly an F tier. Like, he gets stomped on. You know what I mean? So he's got to go down there. So that's we got our characters' powers. I guess the questions would be like if I don't know where to put them, but I'm probably not going to use that. I'm going to put everyone somewhere on this list. So let us begin. We know who our most powerful character is in Sidious, and we know who our worst character is with Sirius. I think his name is Sirius something. I should know his name. I shouldn't know his name. He's not that important. But it's one of the things, like, I'm gonna remember. Like, I'll be going like halfway through this list, and I'll just pop back in my head. So with that said, let us begin. So first off, I'm going to kind of I'm gonna move Anakin back a little bit. I want to kind of gauge other people's power levels for right now. So Obi-Wan will move back. Qui-Gon will move back. Okay, let's start with Padme. So Padme, she's a solid fighter. We've seen this in Attack of the Clones and even in The Phantom Menace. Episode 3, you see less of it, but if you watch the Clone Wars, she is very smart and she is a formidable fighter, but she does lack the ability of force sensitivity. So I'm going to put her as good as a fighter as she is. I'm going to probably put her overall ability. Now I got to put her at D. She's probably at the lower base. F is pretty much like your, you know, either you're terrible to like normal type of fighters, and then the farther left it's going to be, the better they're actually going to be. So, you know, from F we have our low tier fighters, we have D, we have like our mid tier, C we have our high tier, and then we have like B, which is going to be like, you know, your stronger Jedi and Sith, and then you're going to have like A, which is like your almost super powerful Jedi and Sith, and then of course S is going to be like the ultimate strongest we've seen. Okay, so next we're going to R2-D2. R2-D2 is a little better than this guy right here, so we're going to put him at the strongest in F so far. Although he is a better fighter than some of them, R2 does kick butt. I would say ultimately he's not like your advanced fighter. C-3PO, he's going to go behind this guy because I feel like if these two were to battle, C-3PO would definitely lose that battle, so that one's pretty easy for me. Alright, now we're coming to the list. This one's pretty tough. Yoda. I'm going to put Yoda at A tier. And the reason for this is because the Sidious I'm thinking of, this is from episode 6 picture, but off the top of my head, I'm gonna make this Sidious, I'm gonna turn that one into like episode 9 Sidious, like the strongest we've seen of him. And we've seen him take down a bunch of fighters at the end of episode 9. So his electric abilities pretty much could have wiped out an entire planet, but at that point, and his strength of Rey didn't stop him. So that's what we'll do. And then we'll use Palpatine, and Palpatine will be, this will be like our Palpatine we see from the movies before this. So S tier is kind of like your god powers, and as we saw in episode 9, Palpatine pretty much has that in episode 9, but he doesn't really have it yet in episode 6. So I'm going to actually put him a little bit behind Yoda, just because, as we saw from their battle, as the fight went on in episode 3, which was arguably probably the strongest we've seen both of the characters until episode 9, of course, where Palpatine comes back. Yoda does technically win that duel. Palpatine kind of gets the jump on him and it's able to pull off the victory, but in the end of the day, Yoda technically won that duel. So I'm going to put Yoda a little bit more powerful than Palpatine, but those two are like neck and neck almost. Next we come the most powerful character out of all Star Wars. We have Jar Jar, and he's got to go in S tier. He's too good. Jar Jar is an S tier character. His power is so strong, you know, he's the key to all of this, and that's just the truth about it. So, no, I'm kidding. He's so good, but honestly, Jar Jar's probably, I'd say he's a little less capable than Padme. You know, I think physically he has definitely an advantage over people, but like his fighting style is more reliant on luck and less on him actually being a good warrior. So we're gonna put him in the D tier. I'm actually gonna move some of these more stronger people back, just because I don't want to say their powers yet. Okay, Dexter Jettster. I'm gonna put him probably. He looks like when he was younger, he could probably kick some butt, right? But he's older now, and I'm gonna put him like right in front of R2D2. If R2D2 wants to move. Okay, so he's a little bit more powerful than R2D2, but overall his power level is still is lower than it used to be. I'd say at one point he was probably in like the high D tier, but for right now he is now a F tier. Okay, so we're going to oh, you know what we'll do? Let's make the question tier. We'll make that like trash, just absolute trash, no fighting abilities. We'll just take him out right there. So actually, let's move C-3PO down there because he's technically trash. All right, so we have Kit Fisto. So this is our first other Jedi that isn't a main Jedi. I'm gonna put Kit Fisto up in B tier. I pretty much think any Jedi Council member is gonna be a B tier. Not exactly the most powerful fighters, but overall still pretty good. So yeah, Plo Koon's going to be up here. I'd actually say Plo Koon is probably a little bit better of a superior fighter to Kit. I'd say Kit is a faster fighter, but Plo is a more decisive and more wise fighter. So I think that he would actually be able to... He's more powerful in terms of strength. Ayla Secura, she's powerful as well, but she's not as powerful as these two here. Ki-Adi-Mundi, I would say he is probably... I know he's technically like third in command, right behind Mace Windu, but I'm gonna probably put him a little bit behind Plo Koon. I think that he is much like Plo Koon in the way the fighting goes, but Plo Koon is like, first off, he's like 200 some years old, but he's like still technically not old for his age, and Ki-Adi-Mundi, he's near the end of his life, you know. So like, if we're talking physicality, Plo Koon's got it still. All right, so this is one of the Trade Federation guys. I'm gonna put him. I'd say he could probably throw a punch, but I don't think he would beat Dexter Jettster in a fight. I think Dexter would be able to knock his socks out, you know? Just knock him out. But I think that'd be interesting. Okay, next one we have Jango Fett. So this one is interesting. I'm going to put Jango at, like, C tier. I think he is probably the peak of a physical person who doesn't have the Force abilities yet. He is probably the strongest non-Force ability, genetically enhanced fighter we've seen out of all of the Star Wars movies so far. I don't think there's anyone who can actually take him on a one-on-one who doesn't have the Force abilities / who doesn't have some type of genetic enhancement to them. So he is the overall prime of human being we've seen so far, and I think that's part of the reason why the cloners chose him as the archetype, because he was supposed to be like this pristine fighter. So there probably won't be anyone that is a normal human that will surpass C tier in my opinion. Okay, so we have young Boba. I think young Boba could probably beat up this guy here too, but he'd get crushed. Like Dexter would just like sit on him, so he's going down. We have Commander Cody. Commander Cody is going to go right behind Jango Fett for right now. He's Definitely the best commander. I'd say Rex. Rex isn't actually on this list, I don't believe. No, he's not. So Rex isn't on this list, but I would say overall, when it came to his character, Rex would definitely be like right next to Cody in this whole alignment. Okay, so next one we have Shinee Skywalker. This is Anakin's mom. I'm gonna put her probably right here. I think R2-D2 could actually like beat her in a fight. She's not very strong, but she's not supposed to be a strong character. She's supposed to be more of like a morally strong character. You know, make us love her, make us see her as our own mother, and someone we are supposed to care about ourselves. So that's what she's supposed to do, and I think she's that's why she is as low as she is. So Poggle the Lesser, I'm gonna probably put. I feel like Poggle can fight good, but I don't think he's as good as Jettster. Dexter the Jettster. I wonder if most of these characters are just going to be F tier because I kind of raised a high standard here. Okay, so we got the Gungan General. I'm going to put him probably a little bit in front of Padme. I'd say physically he has the same abilities as Jar Jar, but I would say, you know, he's more competent, and that'd put him somewhere near the high D tier. Okay, so this is Captain Panaka. We didn't really see much of Captain Panaka. We know he's a good shot, but we never actually saw, you know, much more out of him besides that. So, oh, this isn't Captain Panaka. This is, Captain Panaka's right here, right? Well, who's this again? Wait, aren't these the same character? Maybe they're... Does Captain Panaka lose an eye? Maybe that is Captain Panaka. I think these are both Captain Panaka. Someone let me know in the comments. I don't actually remember. Whatever the case, I'm going to put them... That's actually probably perfect. Those are good spots. So we're going to keep that like that. Sorry, I'm still getting over that phlegm like I told you guys. Okay, so this one is Chewbacca's buddy from episode 3. He's a really powerful fighter. I'm going to put him behind Cody there. Next one we have, this one is Waldo. Waldo's a piece of trash. I think he can get his butt kicked by Shmi. If Shmi and Waldo got in an arena, in the octagon, Shmi would beat his butt. So we'll do that. So, Boss Nass is probably the ugliest animated character out of all of Star Wars. But when it comes down to it, I think he is still... He probably definitely has some really good, like, you know, knowledge in combat. So I'm going to put him right a little bit behind Dexter. I think when he was younger, when he was less big, I think he would be a much more formidable fighter, but he is, you know, he's past his prime, like kind of like Dexter, so he's going to sit back with Dexter too. Okay, so now we have Padme's stunt double, Keira Knightley. And I'm going to probably put her, she'll probably go a little bit in front of Dexter. You know, she's trained in the fighting and stuff, but she's not like, you know, like combat-wise, you know, she knows how to shoot, but she's not like, you know, your pristine type of trained fighting like we see characters later. Now, maybe if Padme would have lasted longer, or if we would have seen Padme, you know, with her more, like in episode 2, or maybe even 3, we would see more. But I think technically she died in the beginning of episode 2. So, even though it was a different actress who played her, we never really got to see her go in full action besides just kind of shooting some of the droids in episode 1. So, I gotta put her there. Okay, we're looking at Sebulba. I hate this dude. But Sebulba could probably fight. I'm gonna put him probably like... I'd probably put Sebulba right in front of Padme. He'd be a dirty fighter though. Like he'd win because he'd like end up stabbing his opponent. Like it'd be a fist fight and he'd bring a knife. You know, that's the type of guy he is. So I'm gonna put him up there. This one is Chancellor Valorum. He seems like he could probably do a fist fight, but I think he'd probably lose against Dexter. So I'm gonna put him right there. Next one we have the older librarian from episode 2, and she's also in the Clone Wars, and she's pretty good. If you see her in the Clone Wars, she did a pretty good job. So I'm going to put her, I think like combat wise, she might be like, I think she could beat Commander Cody in a battle, but I honestly think that Jango could beat her. Like if, you know, because Jango is like a Jedi assassin, I think like he could have took her out, you know, maybe that's just me. But if they were to get into combat, that's how that would end, in my opinion. Okay, next one we have Luke Skywalker. I'm actually going to move him more farther back because I want to talk about him more. So we'll get to that. Okay, Leia, we're talking about young Leia. I think we saw older Leia down there somewhere. So as far as young Leia goes, she's very very good with combat. I'm going to put her a little bit behind Padme because we've seen better feats from Padme compared to Leia. I know later on Leia does become a better general, a better military leader, but for right now, we're going to put her there. Next, we have a younger Han Solo. Good with a pistol, as we know. His fighting abilities are kind of like scoundrel-esque, and he's somewhat like Sebulba. Sebulba would bring a knife to a fist fight, right? And Solo would bring the knife to a fist fight too, but Sebulba would bring the knife out right away, where Han would only use the knife if he was about to really lose. So he has a little bit more honor, but he's still, a scoundrel. So I'm going to probably put him, fighting style, probably a little bit in front of Padme. Anakin I want to move down to and talk about him more as well. So, and Vader, we got to move them down. We have gold-plated C-3PO, still pretty much worthless, but a little bit better than non-gold-plated because he's a little bit of armor. So there's that. Old Ben Kenobi. Now this one is going to be tough to put because he is overall a very wise, this one's tough. But he's not nearly as powerful as Yoda or Palpatine. So I'm probably going to put him maybe like right here next to Plo Koon. As far as he learns a lot over his time, and if you guys saw from Rebels, he took out Maul pretty easily, but he outsmarted Maul more than he actually defeated him. And I think that's something that's interesting that we'd see from Kenobi, and that's something that he can throw into his fighting style. So that's why I'm going to put him here. For why he may be just as wise as Ki-Adi-Mundi or Plo Koon, he's very wise by this point. He knows his abilities, and he knows how to. He knows what he's doing with his lightsaber, and I'll probably put him there. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm going to put him there. He is not A tier, and he's definitely not S tier, but he's not exactly A tier either. So I'm going to put him right where he is. This one is it's a trap. Sorry, get over that phlegm. It's a trap. I'm going to put him. He's a good combat military experience. I'm going to put him probably right here. Yeah. Oops. He's right behind the Gungan General in fighting style. I think that if these two were to fight, the Gungan General is physically more powerful, I'd say. I mean, maybe if their militaries battled, Akbar would definitely have the win, but I think if they were in a fist fight, the general would have him. Okay, now we're going to small little Anakin, and I'm gonna put him probably right here, because I think that he could beat up R2 and his mom, but I think he'd probably lose to the Viceroy. All right, next one we have this one is this Antilles? I think this is Young Antilles. Oh no, this is. Yeah, this is Young Antilles. Sorry, the picture's a little weird because the next one looks like it's Wedge Antilles too, but maybe. Oh no, that's Biggs. Never mind. That's why I got messed up. Okay, so yeah, this is Wedge Antilles. We actually haven't seen him in combat. We know he's a good pilot, so theoretically we know that he has some type of fighting skill. So I'm gonna put him maybe right here, as far as fighting ability. But like I said, I'm purely basing that off of the military training he had. He could be trash, but I think that's where I'm going to put him. Okay, next one we have Biggs. We didn't see much of Biggs. We do know he has military training as well, so I'm just going to put him right behind Wedge. Okay, this one is Baze, and I don't really know where to put Baze. He definitely has military training, so I think overall I'm going to probably put him maybe a little bit in front of Wedge. He's a good shot, but we haven't really seen anything else. We don't know if he's a super good soldier, if he knows military tactics besides just being able to shoot. So I'm gonna put him there just because we don't exactly know. So this one is BB-8. I think BB-8 is a really good warrior. We've seen him smack people around. I think ultimately I'll probably put BB-8 honestly in front of. He's still an F tier. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'll put him right behind Jar Jar. Actually, you know what? He'd probably be a little better than Jar Jar. There we go. Because we've seen him fight. We've seen that he knows what he's doing. So I'm going to put him that high. it's probably the highest a droid's gonna be, but that's impressive though. Okay, so now we're going on to Han's mentor. His name is Beckett, yes, and he's going to go. We know he's a scoundrel like Han. I'll probably put him here. He's got military training, so it seems they kind of allude to the fact that he was once in military training, but he's also a little past his prime, so I'm gonna put him right there. I think that's a good spot. Okay, Aunt Beru. She'll go somewhere with Shmi. I think that she could still beat up Waldo, but she's not exactly, you know, super impressive with her fighting styles for right now. As far as we see, I mean, she might actually be, but from what we see, no. So this dude's just creepy. I don't know if he's necessarily a fighter, but I do think he could probably hold his own against. I bet baby Boba could probably beat him up, so he's gonna go there. Now we have older Boba, and this one's gonna be controversial, but I'm gonna put him right behind his dad. Here's the reason why. So Boba is a very skilled fighter. We know that. We know he's a good shot. We know that he's had a ton of training in the past. But Jango is like an actual hunter. Do you know what I mean? He was raised by actual Mandalorians himself. Or maybe they changed that now. But in the past, he was raised by Mandalorians, hence why why he's not actually a Mandalorian, but he wears their armor. So maybe the canon has changed it, but in Legends he was very, very skilled. And, you know, like I said, he was the peak of humankind. Or peak as far as, like, you know, physical prowess. You know, like a superhuman without actually, or a super soldier without actually having any type of augmentation. That's who he was. That's why they chose him. And while Boba eventually grows up to pretty much be him exactly, physically they are, you know, well, physically you could technically say they are the same. Jango just has more ability to handle himself in combat, I feel. I think if this was a sharpshooting ability, I think Boba would definitely be able to beat Jango. But if we're talking like overall, you know, tactics, you know, physicality, shooting, as well as actual like hand-to-hand combat, Jango would beat Boba. But maybe that's just me too. With all these guys, this could just all be my opinion. I could be wrong about every single one of these. But let me know in the comments below. Wow, this is becoming longer than I thought. I thought I was like almost done. I'm only halfway done. So this is going to be a longer video, guys. So thank you for sticking around. Yeah, let's just finish it up. Let's finish strong here. I'm gonna save Qui-Gon for later. I'll save some of the ones I want to talk about more for later. But right now, I'll get rid of some of these more like the trash ones. Okay, so we got Bodhi the Pilot. I'm gonna put him. I think he's a little better than Leia. Bosk is probably gonna be up here with the superior warriors. I'd probably put him a little behind Commander Cody. Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 3, you gotta wait. Lando, as far as fighting abilities, we know that he's pretty good at what he does, but he's not like particularly great. So I'm actually gonna probably put him right in front of Leia, like just barely in front of Leia. And as I see this, actually, I'm probably gonna bring Padme back with Leia. Leia, these two are pretty much on par with each other. I think Padme's a little bit better. But as it goes on, this is the way the characters go. Cassie, we know Cassie knows what he's doing as far as combat goes. I might put him a little bit in front of Baze. Actually, yeah, I'd put him a little in front of Baze. Chewbacca, he is our C tier. I'm going to probably put him right behind Commander Cody. I think, you know, military-wise, you know, while of course Chewbacca's got the physicality, Cody's got way more skill and training, so he's going to go ahead of him. So this one is an interesting one, too. I have to put him... I'm probably going to put him a little bit in front of Cody, just because he does have the Force sensitivity. He's not a Jedi. He's not a Sith. He has the ability to use the Force, though. I think that he is very skilled. So, I'll probably put him a little bit in front of Cody. Alright, next one, we have Carrie Fisher's daughter. I actually don't know her name. I'm going to put her, from what we've seen from her, I'm going to guess she's probably like maybe right behind Leia in combat. We've seen a little bit from her, but nothing like super spectacular. So I'm going to estimate that she's probably around the same level as her mother. Okay, so we're going to DJ. DJ Scoundrelous 2. He seems like he kind of knows what he's doing as well, but we don't see much of him, and he just kind of disappears. Like, I feel like he was supposed to be in episode 9, but just kind of, they forgot about him. I don't know. Sorry again. Anyways, I'd probably put DJ, he's probably around Lando skill, I'd say. Nothing too spectacular, but he's good enough to get where he needs to go. Now, this is the chick from Solo. I don't remember her name, but she seems pretty combat oriented, pretty good at what she's doing. So I'm actually going to put her a little bit, maybe a little bit behind. She's in front of, I'd probably put her right in front of Beckett. Now we got Finn. So this is just Finn. Peak of power, what we've seen him, he doesn't know how to use the Force abilities yet, so we can't really add those to the ability. But we have seen him go head-to-head with Phasma and Kylo Ren. While Kylo Ren was wounded, he did a very good job holding up against him. And Kylo was trained since, you know, near birth to be able to fight with a lightsaber. So I'm going to probably put Finn. Oh, this one is tough. I don't know if I can put him in a C tier. I'd probably put him like maybe around like Panaka ability. I think it's a pretty good way to, a good amount to put him. He's a good fighter. Like, I don't think we've seen anything superior wise when it comes to him shooting. But if we're talking like hand-to-hand combat slash, you know, sword fighting, he's pretty good, as we saw. But he's not great, and I think I'm gonna have to put him there. I don't think he's any more better. He's probably a little better than Cassian, but he's not any more better than that, I would say. Okay, so this one is Jyn Erso's father, Galen Erso. We haven't actually seen him do any combat. He seems like a guy who knows what he's doing as far as combat goes. So I'm gonna probably put him maybe around like DJ Lando level of power, just based off of pretty much nothing, but what I would suspect. So that's where that's gonna go. We got Greedo. As we know, Greedo did shoot first, so I'm gonna probably put. He'll probably go somewhere around. Yeah, he's probably like top of the F tier. I don't think he's super good. He got wrecked by Han in the very beginning of episode 4. We didn't see much of him, and we don't really know exactly how good of combat he is. So that's probably where I'm gonna put him. Young Han, I'm probably gonna put I'd probably put him right around like, you know, a little not as good as, you know, original trilogy Han, but, you know, still pretty good. Now we have old Han. So this is where it gets a little bit complicated. I'm probably going to put old Han maybe around Beckett because he has more honor by that point. Maybe a little bit better than Beckett because he has a little bit more honor by that point. Physically, I think that Beckett might be stronger than him, of course, but Han, while he has more honor, he's still got that knife in his back pocket. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm going to probably put him up there. All right, now everyone's favorite character, General Waldo. You know, she's got military experience, and regardless if people don't like her, I'm probably I'd put her like in a fight physically. She'd probably be a little bit more stronger than Padme, in my opinion. We don't know that. We don't have any way to base that. But off the top of my head, if I look at it, and I'm not attacking anyone's character. I just think that she probably has just as much training as Padme and Leia does, and, you know, possibly even more because she is a general. So we're gonna put that there. All right, General Hux. So this one is interesting to me because I don't know where to put him because physically he seems like he just kind of got to where he is because Snoke just wanted him somewhere. But I do think he knows how to fight a little bit. So I'd probably put him a little bit in front of Greedo. He is a D-tier fighter, you know, but he's not that good of a fighter. So IG-88, I might have to put IG-88 up here in C tier. I'll probably put him maybe a little bit in front of Bosk. He's an assassin droid. We've seen what IG units can do in The Mandalorian, and IG-88 is like the most notorious of them, so I think he would do pretty decent there. Jabba the Hutt, physically, I don't think he could really fight. I kind of think he'd just kind of stand there, not really doing much. But I still think he could beat up like Poggle the Lesser. So I'm gonna put him there. I think he'd do there. Next one we have Bail Organa. Bail does have military experience, and he gets more later on, of course. But I think Episode Bail is pretty tough. So I'm gonna put him. I'd probably put him maybe like right in front of Bodhi as far as his power goes. He's not exactly as good as young Han, fighting wise and shooting wise, but I think he'd be more superior to Bodhi. So we have Jyn Erso. Jin's a good shot, and she can, you know, she's a roughhouser. She knows how to fight too. I'm going to put her probably right behind Han as well. Okay, so now we have K2. K2's going to go up here in C tier. He's tough. You know, I got to show my you know, I got to give him props because he's a tough warrior, and he could kick some butts, definitely. Krennic. Krennic definitely seems like he has some good military experience, but he does sort of seem like a weakling as well. But because of that, I'm going to probably put him right behind Biggs as far as military training goes. Kylo. I'm going to save Kylo. I'm going to save all the big hitters for later. I'm going to go through all these other guys. Okay, so this one is L9? L2? It's Han's robot. She's pretty tough, I'll be honest. I don't necessarily like her as a character, but she's tough. I got to put her... I'll probably put her right behind IG, honestly. Or not IG, right behind K2. Young Lando, I would say, is probably just as smooth as old Lando. I think physically young Lando could probably do more damage, I guess, so I'm going to put him a little bit better than his older self. I think as he gets older, he kind of loses a little bit of strength. Next one we have Leia. Old Leia. Now we know she knows how to use the Force, but she's not exactly, like, great at it. But then Rise of Skywalker says she is good at it. She just chooses not to be good at it. So I don't know. I don't know where to really put her. I think that... I mean, combat-wise, she wouldn't last very long around any of these other people here. But she does have the ability to use the Force if she wants to. So I'm going to put her probably a little bit better than her daughter. Because she could use the Force, but we don't really see her do it ever. So, for what we know, I'm just going to put her there. Now we have this guy. I think this guy's name's Lobo. We haven't seen much fighting out of him. I think he's just kind of like a guy who walks around Cloud City. Not much combat experience at all. But I do think he could probably beat up some of these other people here. So I'm going to put him maybe right behind R2. Because R2 could just shock that little sensor in his brain and then, you know, knock him out. If that is a brain sensor. I don't even know what that is. A little visor thingy. Okay, next one we have Old Luke. I'll start doing some of these other ones I was saving. Let's do Old Luke. Old Luke, I would love to put up here. Old Luke should have been an S tier in my mind. You know, the EU or the Legends Luke, you know, by this point in his life, he was an S tier. No question about it. That's just how it was. But he's not an S tier to me anymore. I might have to put him probably in a B tier. I'd actually maybe put him... I think he'd go somewhere around here. Yes, he's not nearly as good as a fighter as these four, I would say. But from what we've seen from him, he does have the abilities. He just let them kind of go away. So he's still powerful, but he's not as powerful as he once was. Maz. So Maz is an interesting one too because I know she's powerful. And in my mind, I want to kind of put her up at A tier. Because you know she is Force sensitive. They hint towards it. You don't really see much of it. In the deleted scene in episode 7, you saw that. She seems very wise. But as far as physically, like, fighting... Well, we did see her actually fight in episode 8, so this one's tough too. I don't know where to really put her. I'm going to probably put her, like, right here. Because she is Force sensitive. She is skilled. But we haven't seen much of it. So as far as it goes, I can't put her any higher than that. This one we have Nine Nub. Oh, I hate Nine Nub. He's got a pancake face. I'm going to put him probably... I think he'd go right... He'd be a little tougher than old Leia, but he wouldn't be as tough as young Leia, I think. Now this is Ula. Poor Ula. She seems like she had a rough past, so I think she could probably physically fight pretty well. But she could be overpowered pretty easily too. Now we have Uncle Owen. He seems like an old man that has really powerful old man strength. So I'm actually going to probably put him a little bit in front of Chancellor Valorum. So this is Rose Tycho's sister. I don't actually remember her name. But she seems like she's got some military training, but not too much. So I'm going to probably put her a little bit in front of Mr. Angry Hux here. Okay, this one is Phasma. Phasma is probably... I'd say Phasma's C tier, although we haven't actually seen Phasma fight. She is kind of like on par with Jango. regardless of the fact that she did get beat by Finn. But I think there's a lot of different dynamics that go into that. Overall, as a fighter, she is a C-tier fighter. I just think she's a low C-tier fighter. Okay, next one we have Poe. I actually think that Poe... this one's tough between Poe and Finn. Okay, I think Finn could probably beat Poe in a fight. I don't think he'd want to, but he could beat Poe in a fight. Piloting, of course, Poe would wreck Finn's day. You know, maybe even shooting guns, like Poe would probably destroy Finn. But if we're talking about just like overall versus overall, I think Finn could pull off the win against him. So now we have Kira. I'd probably put her. She was like a kind of like a female Han Solo. I'd probably put her maybe like right in front of Holdo. She could probably beat Holdo in a fight, but she wouldn't be able to. She'd bring a knife as well to a fight, you know. I think this is Akbar's son. No, Akbar. That's Akbar's son. That's Akbar's. Akbar's son is in episode 9. What am I thinking? This is one of Akbar's buddies. I don't remember who exactly his name is, but he's in Rogue One. I'm going to put him. He's got military training. I'll probably put him maybe up here, like oh, this is tough. Military training, general. I'm gonna put him next to Biggs. He seems like he's got some good abilities to him. So we got Rancor. So here's the thing: the Rancor is really strong, a really powerful monster, but it's also just a big dumb beast. But at the same time, it's a really powerful monster that I think could pretty much beat any single one of these people down here. So I'm gonna put him in C tier. Low C tier though, because I do think that Phasma. She's smart enough, she could pull off a win against them. And I think all the rest of these guys would have the ability to take the Rancor down. So that's how it's going to be. Oh, we'll get the Rey. We'll leave her back. We're going to leave Mace Windu to the back. I gotta talk about them. So this is the monkey guy from from Solo. He seems like he's got some fighting abilities. I'm probably going to put him a little bit in front of... actually, I put him behind Lando. You know, he's got some fighting abilities, but he's still like a little monkey guy. Saul Guerrero, when in his younger days, he was a very good warrior, but I think, you know, as he got older, his body started to kind of betray him. And I'd probably put him like a little bit in front of Leia, in our older Leia. Sarlacc Pit, another thing, super powerful, probably an S tier power if you want to say that, but it's solitary. It can't really do much. So I'm gonna probably put that one as far as like fighting goes, it's worthless because if you put that against anyone else here, they can just kind of just walk away from the Sarlacc Pit. Then the Sarlacc Pit just gets stuck. So I'm just going to put that down there because it doesn't have to be in this because it doesn't really exist as a being, I'd say. So this is the older gentleman from episode 1. I actually don't remember his name. But he kind of seems like he would get his butt kicked. So I'm going to put him right behind. He doesn't seem very tough. So I'm going to put him... I'll put him right in front of little Anakin. Snoke, we gotta save Snoke. Okay, Tarkin's a tough boy. He's got some military training. I'm gonna probably put him. I think he could beat the Gungan leader, honestly. Even if he is an old man, he just seems like he's got like a prowess that could just like knock anybody out. The clone woman, her name escapes me. She seems pretty tough, but she doesn't seem like much of a fighter either. She seems very fragile. Like she seems like she could punch, but then she couldn't take a punch. You know what I mean? So I'm going to probably put her maybe like right behind Jar Jar, I'd say. Rose is going to go right behind her sister because I heard that in the novels, Rose's sister is actually stronger than Rose or something like that. Like Rose looks up to her because she is like a great warrior to Rose, and Rose was always like, you know, like being bullied, and she was always sticking up for her, and then when she died, Rose had to step it up. So that's kind of like one of those things that they don't really include in The Last Jedi that's in the books. So I know she's better than her. And I think that Rose could actually... No, Rose couldn't beat Hux, I don't think, in a fight. You know, Rose probably couldn't even beat Greedo. Oh, I'm looking at this now. Ooh, okay. Alright, I'm reevaluating. I think that Rose could beat the Viceroy. No, Rose could probably beat Ula. No. This one's tough. This is probably the toughest one. Okay, Rose would lose to the Viceroy, but I think she could beat up the rest of the people here. So we'll put her there. Okay, so before we get to all these more heavy hitters here, let me finish off some of the ones here. So Shakti, she's going to go up here. I'm going to put her a little bit in front of Kit Fisto. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. She's pretty tough. This gentleman from episode 3, I don't remember his name, but he's a warrior himself. I'm probably going to put him maybe a little bit in front of Bodhi. Seems like he knows what he's doing. This one is Plunk. I hate this dude. He's like the worst. Not only is he like the ugliest character in Star Wars, but like he's just like the worst like being. Like his soul is just terrible. So I think, but he's still pretty tough though. I'd probably put him a little bit in front of Greedo. He'd be able to beat Greedo up. Okay, now we're coming to like the last like 10 here. So this is Beckett's wife. She seems tough as well. I'm gonna probably put her maybe like a little bit in front of Padme as far as fighting style goes, or fighting ability. This is Voss. He has some type of genetic enhancement, and he's a good fighter, as we saw. This one's tough. But I think if him and Tarkin fought, they'd win. But I think he'd lose against the Rancor, so I'm going to put him there. Wampa. Wampa is kind of the same thing as a Rancor. Like a good fighter because they're powerful, but they're slow and bulky. So I think Voss could beat him. All right, now I got Ewok. Ewok is definitely S tier, no question about it. Just kidding. Ewoks are pretty tough though. I'd probably put them maybe around the same skill as a Boba, but Boba could probably beat them. All right, so we have the big funny guy from episode 9. I don't know his name either. He seems like in military training, but not much. So I'm gonna probably put him a little bit more powerful than old Leia. Babu Frick. We all know Babu Frick is an S tier. He's so powerful, you know. So he's gonna stay there. Just kidding. We're not gonna put him there. He's a smart dude. We know that, but physically he'd just get stomped on. He actually might lose to this guy, to be honest. So we got Mary from Lord of the Rings. He's gonna go. We haven't seen any combat skills with him either, but I think he would probably lose to Hux in a fight. So we're gonna put him there. So this is the new Tarkin. I actually don't remember his name right now. For some reason, it's out of my. Some of these names are fleeting my mind. I knew a lot of them though. I'm surprised I remember so many. I have a bad memory when it comes to stuff like that, especially the newer characters. I can't remember their names except for the main 3. What is his name? I don't know, but he's kind of like the new Tarkin. I'd probably put him a little behind Tarkin, just because Tarkin is a beast. Old Lando. I'm gonna probably put him. He doesn't seem to be like physically strong anymore. Although he's a good leader now, I'd probably put him maybe like. I think old Lando could get his butt kicked. I'd probably put him there. I think old Leia could probably kick old Lando's butt. She probably has at one point, honestly. Okay, and then we have Janna. So Janna, she has. They hint to the idea that she has Force abilities, but we don't actually know. We don't see her use them, but we know that physically she can fight. So I'm going to put her somewhere on the same way as this chick from Solo. I think that's probably like perfect because they are kind of like, as far as what we've seen, you know, they're kind of like similar characters. You know, they're on this island with other fighters, and they're kind of like the leader of those fighters. So they're kind of similar characters when I think about it. So here's the little droid from episode 9. I'm trying to remember his name, and I can't. I'm going to put him, the wheelie guy. He doesn't seem very tough, though. I think he'll get his butt kicked by Babu Frick. Okay, now here is Mon Mothma. And I'm probably going to put her maybe... she's very fragile. I'm going to put her probably like right here. She's a little tougher than him, I think. Okay, and then we have the Changeling from episode 2. And she is a tough fighter, but I'm probably going to put her somewhere around like the same as Janna. Yeah, I'll put him somewhere like between Janna and them. Okay, so now we're getting to the real meat and potatoes of this video. These are the tough ones. These are the ones that are going to get me. Let's start with Snoke, just because. Snoke, I would say, is an A tier warrior. We know that his power is essentially Palpatine S tier, but from what we've seen, he isn't exactly S tier yet. I would actually put Snoke maybe a little more powerful than Palpatine episode 3. Maybe actually more powerful than Yoda, honestly. If I think about it, Snoke is probably the strongest character we've seen besides Palpatine. and that would make sense. But he's not exactly, you know, god tier like we see Palpatine and at the end of Episode 9. So that sounds good to me. Let's now do Rey. I think Rey is. I think while power wise, she'd be somewhere like the A tier. I think like her abilities, from what we've seen, I don't think Episode 9 Rey could have beaten any of these Jedi here in a fight. Although like power wise, I think she's more powerful than them. Like force sensitivity abilities, I don't think like, you know, her fighting ability would be as powerful as them. So I'm going to put her maybe like a little bit in front of Maz as far as fighting strength. Oh, you know, I missed Poe's girlfriend. I forget her name. She seemed pretty tough though. I'll probably put her maybe like, I'll put her behind Jannah. She's tough. Okay, let's do Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui-Gon Jinn, really good warrior. Not the greatest warrior of all time, but still really good, very powerful with the Force. I'm gonna put him probably like right. I'll probably put him right in front of Luke. I think he would do a good. He's that's a good spot for him. Next, let us do. Now I'll save Luke. I'm gonna save Luke, Anakin, Kylo, and Mace for the last ones. And Vader, of course. Let's do Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan Episode 3. We've seen him defense stance. He is like so good. I'm gonna put him maybe like. His defense is impeccable, but I'm going to put him at the top of B tier. I think he's a little better than he is later on. Although he's more of a decisive fighter when he is in Episode 4. Physically, Episode 3, Obi-Wan is, I would say that's like his prime. That's the strongest we've seen Obi-Wan so far. So I'm going to put him there. Next one we have General Grievous. Grievous is definitely going to be a B tier fighter. I know he technically lost to a couple of these other fighters here, but if we're talking about overall feats, man, this is tough. I'd probably put him here. I think Grievous did beat Shakti before and technically beat Grievous, but there's more elements to that I think that I think Grievous is a more powerful fighter than people really realize. Now, we're not talking Legend Grievous, of course, because he'd be an S tier. But from what we see in canon, I think that he could actually pull off the win against those two fighters. That's why he's there in the tier list. Okay, let's do Dooku. Dooku is tough. Dooku is strong. I'm going to put Dooku at the front. He is near B tier. I think that he actually might be, if we're talking about like fighting style, he is probably better than Obi-Wan. But I think overall, Dooku is past his prime physically. If we're talking younger Dooku, I think he would actually be better than Obi-Wan. But for what we saw, I'm gonna put him there. That's a tough one to put, honestly. But that's what I'm gonna go off of right now. Darth Maul, definitely a B tier fighter. I think he's probably right up here. I'm gonna put him right behind Qui-Gon. If you guys want to know why I think he's behind Qui-Gon, I'm actually going to be doing a versus again with these two. I'll be explaining those reasonings. I actually have an older versus if you want to look into it, but I'm going to be redoing this versus eventually. So remember to like and subscribe for more of those, and you might just find out my reasoning for that. I didn't mean to make this video like almost an hour long, but I didn't expect all of these characters to be here for me to take so long to explain it. So we got 5 more. Let us begin. I'm gonna say Vader for last because I think that's going to be like the top thing people are going to be like speculating about. So we got Mace Windu. I'm putting Windu. He's a B tier. I actually might put Windu like right next to Count Dooku. And yes, I realize that if Mace and Obi-Wan fought, Mace would most likely win. If Dooku and Obi-Wan fought, Dooku would most likely win. But I'm talking overall, not just, you know, as a fighter, but I mean like, you know, the ability to think, the ability to defend, you know, the extra elements that go into it. I think that Obi-Wan is a superior overall warrior. So Mace is a little bit better than Mace. Mace is a little bit better than Dooku, but I think younger Dooku could beat Mace at this point. But that's just speculation. We don't know. We don't know that one for certain. Now we got Kylo. So Kylo, I think we've seen in Episode 9, Kylo is a better warrior than Rey, but I still don't think he could stand a chance against any of these older Jedi. You know, these Jedi were so fast, so quick with their lightsabers. he just doesn't stand a chance, in my opinion. So that's why he's there. So young Luke, this one's going to be controversial, but I'm going to probably put young Luke maybe a little bit behind Grievous. I think that his lightsaber skill has gotten powerful. His potential for what he could become in like maybe 5 years later is so crazy. You know what I mean? I want to see Luke between episode 6 and 7 because that's when he was his most powerful in my opinion. But at this point, this is episode 6 Luke. Powerful, yes. But still not exactly as at the point where he could be. I still think he is behind Qui-Gon in lightsaber skill. I still think he's behind Grievous in lightsaber skill. You know, I still think he's behind like Dooku in force abilities. You know, like he's just not fully trained yet. And he eventually will get there. But for right now, I'm going to put him there. I think that's going to be controversial. I think people in the comments aren't going to like me putting him there, but I think that's perfect. So we have Anakin episode 3. In my opinion, Anakin episode 3 is the very best, almost A-tier fighter. His potential would put him into A-tier. Okay? If Anakin wouldn't have turned into Vader, he would be somewhere up here. Probably even one day better than Yoda. Maybe even more powerful than Snoke. But for right now, he's a little bit better than everybody else. And people will say, well, he lost against Kenobi. How are you going to put him in front of Kenobi? If you look at the technicalities of that entire fight, Anakin would have won. Obi-Wan won because of a technicality. Not to say that he's weak. That's not saying that. But he won because of a technicality. And that's just the proof of that one. In my opinion, anyways. If you want to see more on that, I actually did a couple videos on that, but you can look at my older verses. I explained all that in the older verses. I'm going to be revisiting that verses eventually too. But for right now, that is how I feel. And we have Vader. So this is the thing. If we're talking overall presence of Vader, you know, his physicality, his force abilities, just his overall strength, I would probably put him in the A tier. But I don't think Vader is on par with Yoda or Palpatine. I don't think he ever gets to that point because he loses his arms and legs. And that is a big point. While his force abilities become more powerful, I would say, and it not necessarily they become more like strong, but they become more like there's more grit to them. I think that him becoming Vader is actually more against him than for him. So, ultimately, I have to put Vader probably right behind Dooku. And I actually did verses on that too if you want to hear more of that explanation. I'm just going to leave the verses link below if you guys want to really hear more of my reasons for that. Just because a lot of reasons why I'm putting people where I'm putting them is because of, you know, those verses I've done in the past where I've actually, you know, laid out every single pro and con, and I kind of decided between who would win. And Dooku he can use the Force to make himself faster, and, you know, Vader, he can do the same, and he does, but Dooku can use lightning, you know, and that is Vader's biggest weakness, is the ability for someone to be able to shock him and knock out his respirator. So that's why he's there, I would say, and that's why I would say Dooku would actually beat him in a battle. But I do think he could take out Plo Koon and Ki-Adi-Mundi and Qui-Gon. I think that would be probably pretty obvious, but I think that is my tier list. So there you go, guys. That is my power level tier list. As you can see, we have a couple of like nothings, and then we have a bunch of other characters, and then we have our S tier, which only one person, Palpatine episode 9, ever touched. As far as the movies go, maybe I'll have to do like a Legends tier list, you know, or maybe like an Old Republic tier list. If you guys want to see more tier lists like this, let me know in the comments below. This was a little longer than I was expecting. I thought this might be like a 20-minute video at the most, but I really wanted to elaborate my opinions and try to make this all make sense. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you guys enjoyed this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and notifications for more. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later. Peace.